Hi, you again with Volleyball Explained with Ronnie. Today we are going to talk about the group stage in the World Championship men and of course about the upcoming 1/8 finals which start Saturday the 3rd of September. But first, of course, let's start with the group stage, which was, I would say, a little bit boring because there were no general surprises, or even maybe no surprises in general. But yeah, Ronnie, what do you think about the group stage? Have
Well,
surprised you?
no, not at all. I mean, like you say, there wasn't too many surprises, at least big ones. Maybe the first game, Cuba versus Brazil, if Cuba could have won that, maybe that's an upset because Cuba is not a team that play at VNL and hasn't been around since like 2012 or so. But at the end, Brazil made the adjustments and correct their game, and yeah, they won. The other games like Group A or C, where Serbia and Italy dominated, was very normal. Maybe the match between Poland and Poland was in Group C. I think.
Poland is C, E
Uh,
is Italy.
Okay, in C, well, Poland did it very good versus USA. I mean, they were at home, so it was easy for them to get past. And yeah, overall, maybe a bit a little disappointing, like for teams like Canada, who wasn't being like they play horrible, and of course Bulgaria, who well ended losing versus a team that has no tradition like Mexico. The other teams like they did what they could, so yeah, pretty much same.
Yeah, I would say that Mexico beating Bulgaria is the biggest surprise in terms of result, even though, unfortunately for me and for my compatriots, Bulgaria is not playing well traditionally in those matches. Firstly, with opponents that should be or presumed to be uh, much under our class, even though this is not a fact anymore. And secondly, much you would say meaningless, even though we had a chance. Actually, I believe that if we have beaten Mexico, we could have been in the 1/8 finals. But still, I think as a general result, this is the biggest surprise. I'm a little bit surprised that Turkey overcame Canada that easily, even though the first two sets were a little bit even. And probably that's it. Maybe Cuba winning two sets against Brazil, but the other games, I, I can't find any surprise anywhere because, for example, in the last pool in Pool F with Argentina, Iran, and Netherlands, they are very even teams, and I don't think that there could be any surprises between them. So my last question before going to the 1/8 finals: which do you think is the best match of the tournament so far?
I mean, Cuba versus Brazil, and then you have to go to the last group where Argentina played two tie breaks and lost both, and then Netherlands. I mean, they for me they are the most improved team in this tournament. You know, because I have them like the third option in pool play, and they ending one place at their group. So yeah, for me, that team will advance to the quarterfinals because they have
They
to
play
face
Ukraine.
Ukraine, and yeah, one of disappointment was Argentina being the bronze medalist at Tokyo Olympic Games. We knew that they had some, let's say, losses, like Soler, for example. Um, and of course, the Checo is not in shape anymore to represent Argentina, and he had some mistakes, silly mistakes for him. Conte is not that good anymore, and he will play next season in Argentina. So that's tell you many things. And of course, they didn't have Palacios, who injured at the Memorial Hubert Warner in Poland before the the game. So I think he injured it after that, but you know they played two more games versus Poland before the World Championship. Yeah, of course you have to. Another good game was Slovenia versus France at the Arena Stočice in Slovenia, who was the most viewed game in that country because
You were
the
there.
yeah, I was there behind the service line, and yeah, it was amazing. Have some footage. Yeah, it was it was good. And yeah, Slovenia had the game and then drop in the fourth, and they didn't play the tiebreak. So I may say that they have to correct because
Actually, they won it, but there was a challenge.
yeah, but
Slovenia won it, but there was a challenge.
I believe those two teams will meet again, but not this time in Slovenia, but in Poland. So for the semifinals, but we will see what's going on, what's going to happen now at the 1A finals. Yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, this is the best match in terms of quality, and Slovenia is showing another level in comparison to what they've shown in the VNL.
Slovenia.
So I believe this is, and actually this could be a very good transition to the first 1/8 final between Slovenia and Germany. The very awkward format did so that Slovenia and Germany will play for a second time in just 4 days after Slovenia won the first match 3-0. Do you think we can expect something different then?
No, I don't think so. The match will be at 5:30 p.m. This have to do because like the games has been poorly attended. They want to keep as many people in the arena after the game of Slovenia, because only the games of Slovenia have been full packed. So yeah, the second game will be, of course, Cuba versus Italy. But talking about the first one, I think that Germany, well, the Germans were ready the last day to departure. I mean, I saw them at the hotel walking around, hanging around, like they were to the malls and shops to watch or buy something. They were not too interested in what's gonna happen, and at the end they qualified, and they had to play one more game. So I mean, there was maybe they will put more interest. They will try to win a set, but the real result can be 3-0 at the group phase.
Yeah, I would say that Germany could, for example, wanna win a was said, but nothing more. Slovenia is a very big deal with this, and even without Rock Mozic is on the bench because Tino went out, and the traditional guns are blazing. So yeah,
I
firing
mean,
very well for Slovenia.
George Cretu is a new coach for this team, and he don't want to risk what has been working good for Slovenia in the past. So maybe for this tournament, he intends to just put Rokmosic in one set and see what he can expect for the years to come, maybe next year. But yeah, he will put all his card to the formula that has been working for Slovenia in the past years.
Okay, I'm giving you the floor for the second game because Italy
Yeah.
is facing Cuba.
The classic of
Expectations
the volleyball
of
for
the
the
90s.
in the 90s, of course. Yeah, well, this is a match that Cuba can play really, really bad because of the style of the Italians. Very skillful, very fast game, very technique, and of course with a team of scouts that for me is one of the best in the world. So only Poland and maybe USA have that level of having tools, the right tools to study the rival and such. On the other hand, Cuba has a really big problem, not only in the setter position, like you watch in the games that you could that you that your time led you to watch, but also
Yeah, I watched.
for
Sorry to interrupt. I watched both partially the match against Brazil and also the match against Japan,
you
and I
was
believe this
impressed
is
at the first two sets versus Brazil.
yeah. Not only the first set, the whole match, but not all the time. But still, I believe this is the weakest chain in the weakest link in the chain in the Cuban chain, the setter.
Yeah, the setter, and of course, or staff that is like amateur. So very little, or for not to say nothing, rotations. He changed the setter like it was nothing. He our coach Nicolas Vives doesn't give the harmony or the confidence to a young setter to really uh, keep their mind focused in the games all the time, yelling between rallies, telling the referee if the ball was going out or in. I mean, that's not an attitude that you can expect of a respectable coach. And this is a man that has been coaching for at least 6 years. Like let's take two, only 4 years of experience. And yeah, he was player in the past, but always was the substitution of Raul Diago. Never touched the court for nothing. Never was hired in Italy or something. So yeah, we have a very amateur dude with a group of professionals that have too many talent to work with these individuals. So yeah, I don't expect that Cuba win a set even. I think they are pretty much done at this tournament. Uh, 3-0 is my bet. Even I can expect that they will fight because, like, Simone is a fighter and he will not going down easy. But yeah, 3-0, 3-1 for me is relevant at this point.
Yeah, I don't expect also a surprise here, but if there is a chance for Cuba at least winning a set or two, the chance will be in Italy playing that not seriously, as especially in the third set against Canada. It was a interesting set, very long set, but they were making mistakes and smiling, and this is not something a coach should treat in that way. I believe as Fernando De Giorgio, but still,
Hmm.
Italy will beat
And of
Cuba
course,
fortunately or not.
like they are too skillful and tactical. If you give them 3 points, they will make pay you that. So yeah, and Cuba. I mean, playing from behind versus Italy is very bad for any team because they will keep pressuring, and like they don't usually do many mistakes versus a team that make too many errors like Cuba can be devastated. So yeah, that's my final statement on this game.
Okay, let's go to Sunday, and I would say to combine both games because both games have a clear favorite. USA playing Turkey and Poland playing Tunisia. I will start then in order to have some kind of a diversity. Poland Tunisia. I don't think we need to comment on that. I didn't watch a game of Tunisia, unfortunately. Sorry, but yeah, to Tunisian fans who are watching us, but yeah, that I would say that with all these matches, uh, it's hardly any time to watch also that. But yeah, sorry for that. But Poland is a clear favorite, of course. And USA against Turkey is an interesting match, not because USA won't take it. It will be a very very great surprise if it doesn't happen. But Turkey is probably together with the Netherlands the team which is developing the most in the last years, and when we take the fact that to take into consideration the fact that Netherlands is a traditional power in volleyball and Turkey isn't, at least in the men's section, Turkey's work I watched very nearly from the court. Besides the court, a match between Turkey and Bulgarian team of Martin Stoev, which actually finished last year the second placed in the U19 World Championship, and Turkey beat that team once, and they're working very professionally, and I believe they will have even more success in the years to come. And of course, they have Adis Lagumjo, which is who is their best player. What do you think about these two matches?
Well,
Any
I will not.
surprises?
I will not comment about Poland versus Tunis because clearly Poland playing in Gliwice will be a easy match. It can be treated like an exhibition one, no matter how let's say good Slovenia played at Tunis played at the group phase. They have a decent sets, but overall they lose versus the European nation. So Poland, Turkey versus United States. Yeah, I mean, Turkey proved the world in this World Championship that they belong at into the VNL. They beat both Canada and China, two VNL teams, and both results were 3-0, which is a very convincing way to qualify for the next round. But you know, having so many missing players like Mandirachi, maybe Bayran, and Gigit is, I mean, those three outside hitters, and having only the Laguncia brothers, maybe only Addis as key reference in the offensive. In the offenses, I think USA have more tools to overcome this and win the match. This will be the first time that these two teams meet in any tournament, which can be very interesting to watch. But Turkey was playing in Slovenia, so they make the travel to Poland. Maybe that short trip can make them doubt about his chances, but at the overall, I think 3-0 is the normal result. Maybe 3-1 because they don't know each other. So maybe Turkey can be like at the first set, or maybe second set, maybe 25-23, who knows. But yeah, USA is the main favorite to win it.
Okay, Monday, Netherlands against Ukraine. Here, not that big favorite as, for example, USA or Poland, but Netherlands is the favorite against Ukraine, which is I don't know, for example, why Dmitry Vietsky is not playing. He's not in the group, but the Ukraine with only Plotnitsky, I don't think they can win against the Netherlands. But who knows?
I mean, there are two teams that rely only on one player, like Ole playing for Ukraine and Nimir playing for, of course, Netherlands. But the secondary players like Ter Horst, like
Twinstar,
Black, Twinstar, etc., have more tools, have more arguments, and of course, Piazza has more experience in this type of competition. Of course, also Netherlands come from the VNL, who has more experience coming to these matches, and having playing a hard pool than Ukraine, make them the main favorites. I will not say 3-0 because they are variations in the game of Netherlands, but yeah, for me, big favorites into this pool. And yeah, the second game, France versus Japan. It's funny because
France
Japan,
against their former coach Philip Bland.
okay, I mean, it's funny because we Cubans wanted the second place at the stands. I mean, maybe if we could want it, France were the rival in this phase for Cuba, and not Italy. But yeah, Cuba, Japan, and France is a classic because they have like same styles, defensive, skillful. Of course, France talent is higher than Japan, so Japan only have maybe Nishida to make pressure in serve, and Ishikawa, who were superb versus Cuba, even though Cuba make a lot of mistakes that at the end were the main reason why Japan beat us so comfortably. And of course, the setter was important. None of those problems uh, is with the French team. So yeah, the last time that Japan beat France was at the 2016 Olympics. It's very curious that was at that competition, but yes, after that, four games to France, one of them 3-2, but the last two who was in the VNL 3-0 for France. So I will not expect less. I will say 3-0 this time for France too.
Yeah. Firstly, it's interesting that they played the quarterfinal in the VNL and France easily won. I would add here that I expected more from Japan against, for example, Brazil, because yeah, I don't probably they're playing not that good against each team has a team where they don't play that good, and maybe Japan's black cat are Brazil in these terms, but they were awful. I expected more from this game because yeah, and Ishikawa and Nishida were pretty good players, so I could expect more from them, but still.
For me,
Yeah,
Japan is Japan if you let them. I mean, if you commit important amount of errors during the game, you give them the chance because they are more or less like Italy. They don't make too many mistakes. They maybe make one, but in the next rally they correct that. So if you play like if you put too many pressure on serve and you miss too much, at the end that will haunt you. And like they are like a good defense team, can create some problems to the other team. So yeah, that's the key. And of course, like France is a team that is very skillful, too technical. Not only they don't only have strength, but they have the focus and the right tactics to come into this game.
yeah.
It's easy for them, like Brazil, to beat Japan 3-0. So the tactics that Japan use doesn't apply to this team who are very good at passing and setting. So yeah.
Okay, let's go to the last 1/8 finals. Firstly, Slovenia against Argentina. Serbia, of course. Serbia against Argentina. Do you think that for Serbia could be a problem the fact that they played against very mediocre teams in
Of
the
course.
play? Because they didn't face a worthy opponent so far.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, if Cuba were at the BNL and with a proper coach, maybe another setter that we have that our coach didn't take, Cuba will have been a problem, a serious problem for Italy, because they have faced no one in the group phase besides Serbia. Both Serbia and Italy have the easiest groups, and yeah, I mean, Argentina was almost eliminated by Egypt at the last game. They were trailing by 2-1. Even at the first set, Egypt could have won two, so they will have lose 3-0. But at the end, they won it. And yeah, this is a team that Serbia doesn't like too much because Serbia have the same style than us, than Cuba, than maybe Russia. They are too they use the brute force to impose their game. And yeah, my only question is how much energy Argentina have in the tank, because have been 3 games of tie break, and of course on top of that you have the travel to Poland, so it's not easy for those players to um to to overcome this. The last match, well, they have a previous match at the Huber and Wagner Memorial. Argentina won that 3-1, and of course at the VNL, Serbia won 3-2. So you can see that Argentina always plays good versus Serbia. I think Serbia is the favorite because they are more in good shape, but you never know with those two teams. For me, this is the most uh, like harder match to predict, because even though Argentina is not in a very good shape, they know that Serbia is a main or direct contender in the ranking, in the world rankings, to qualify for Paris, and it doesn't matter if they lose in the next round, they will not give 3 points to Serbia. So yeah, this can be a very interesting match.
I would say that if I need to look for a surprise, I would look for it here. And I would
Mm,
say that Argentina will win against Serbia, even for 2 reasons. Firstly, I don't think Serbia is that good now in their shape with aging Katanasiewicz and so on. And Argentina played 2 very tough matches, actually 3 very tough matches. All of their matches ended in tiebreak, even without Egypt. But I would say that Argentina's style is not that suitable for the Serbians,
Serbia.
and I would try to look for a surprise here.
Mm.
Okay, the last one: Brazil against Iran.
Well, this is a matchup that has been happening since Iran rose to prominence with the game of uh, Musavi, and the other of Maruf, of course, but they don't have those 2 players anymore. I mean, Iran is rebuilding their team with an Iranian coach, which not always have the experience to play in this at this level. They have been good so far at the World Championship. They beat Egypt 2-1, and Argentina 3-2, and lost, of course, versus Netherlands. The last results indicate that Brazil is better. They won easily at the VNL 3-0. Then the last VNL last year 2-1, and of course the World Cup 3-1. I mean, Brazil is Brazil. No matter how bad are the situation with the coach Renan and the players, I think this can be a 3-0 for Brazil. And of course, I don't know how they do it, but Brazil, if nothing funny happens, will be at the semifinals again. So this will be I mean, since '98 they have been in the semifinals. So let's see if they can do it again. And of course, the the semifinals will be versus Poland or USA, 2 teams that right now, in paper, in theory, are better. So let's see if Brazil can reach the finals once more.
For me, Brazil is the clear favorite here.
Mm,
I don't think any surprise can
mm,
occur here in this match. Iran is a little bit underperforming, at least in my opinion. I expected a little bit more from them. They won against, of course, they won against Argentina and against the team of Egypt. But I would say that I expected more, not that in terms of playing, but in terms of not in terms of a result, but in terms of playing against the Netherlands. not that big of a gap between my expectations and what happened, but still I expected more from Iran. But actually, I've put Japan and Iran in the quarterfinal, in the predictions of the quarterfinalists for me. So this is not going to happen, or at least if happens,
In
Brazil
theory,
or France will be out. So which
will
were
be an upset.
your two teams except the six clear?
Well, Cuba, and that's not going to happen, and Iran, I think. Japan didn't
Yeah,
make the cut.
yeah,
But
because yeah,
anyway, it won't be. It won't be this case. I mean, Netherlands will make the cut.
yeah.
Argentina or Serbia will make the cut, and the rest are the same. Are the main favorites.
I didn't take into consideration the fact that with these three easy matches, Serbia will have also an
Yeah.
easier opponent. But still, this is not that sure. Argentina is not that easy. Okay, before ending this a little bit shorter than usual podcast, let's mention that the potential quarterfinals are Poland USA, which will be a blockbuster,
Mhm.
and a reply of the match in the group stage. Serbia or Argentina against potentially Brazil or
Mhm.
Iran. Slovenia, let's say, or Germany against Netherlands
Netherlands.
or Ukraine, which is of course this host
Yeah, it's very bad for the
advantage.
sport.
By the way, it's interesting that a very dedicated spectator of ours uh, put a comment, Piotr, that the idea of giving this a disadvantage later to the host is because of the fact that Slovenia was not in this position as a host when the draw has been held. So in order to do it later, they needed some way to give them this advantage. So this is this is, I believe, a reasonable idea. So after this comment, I don't take it that bad as before that. And of course, Italy against France will also be very interesting, even
Uh,
though France beat Italy in the
and
semifinals of the Vienna.
if this were let's say a honest competition, Italy would have been the first seed and Serbia the second one and Poland the third. I have, like, for example, Slovenia would have been the seventh
So
seed. So
Poland, Cuba.
yeah, Poland, Cuba. For me, I don't care. As long as the competition remains clear and not managed by those two who only want money. I mean, like, for example, Italy, Tunisia, and United States versus Turkey. That remains the same, and those two teams who have been played in the quarterfinal, which is not bad at all. Brazil, Argentina versus France and Iran. Those two teams, like France and Brazil, who have met in the quarterfinal, who for me is a better and rightful choice, and because Brazil is have been on the performance recently, and they will make it to the semifinals for me. So yeah, then on the other side you have Serbia, Germany versus Slovenia, Ukraine. Serbia and of course Slovenia will have met in the quarterfinals. I don't know if this will have been too good because those countries have their past history. And Poland, of course, versus Cuba, and Netherlands versus Japan. I don't know who have been the other quarterfinals, but of course Poland will have met or Netherlands of Japan. I mean, make the competition more honest and rightful and fair to other teams, and not like this, which you have Poland and Slovenia basically paying to be at the quarterfinal at least. So and at least for me, Slovenia will make it into the semifinal.
Yeah,
So yeah.
very probable, and I believe in terms of playing style and form, I believe they deserve it. But yeah, it could have been different without this host advantage. Okay, let's
Okay.
wrap it up for today. We will try to have a podcast, even though that will be very difficult, taking into account the fact that the quarterfinals start
Maybe
on the
before
next
the
day.
semis, but maybe before the
Yeah, probably
semifinal.
semis are how was that? Semis are on
Day
the
7 or 8, something like that.
seventh. No, no. Quarterfinals are
9.
7 or 8, and ninth the. Yeah, probably that could work, but yeah, there will be matches every day next week. So yeah, this is quite interesting. So let's we work on that, and we can do the next podcast as soon as possible. Firstly, subscribe to Cuban Spike in Facebook and YouTube, and subscribe, please, if you haven't, to Volleyball Explained, because we are working on reaching 7,000 subscribers as soon as possible we can. Thank you again for watching or listening to us in the audio platforms, and support your favorite team if it's not there as my Bulgaria. Yeah, just choose one which is the most sympathetic to you and cheery. Thank you. Bye bye, and see you very
Bye.
soon. Bye.